Welcome to Live with It's All About Choices, a holistic nutrition, weight loss, and fitness academy where you make the decision to take action regarding your health, your weight loss, and your weight goals overall. And I guide you through the best choices for you. Every Tuesday, I have the pleasure of dishing out your daily dose of nutrition and wellness news for your mind, your body, and your soul. And I hope everybody's having a wonderful day so far. I hope your week is going great so far. And those who are listening live, I thank you for taking time out of your schedule to pause. Hopefully, you're having some lunch to rest a little bit before you have to take on the second half of your day, just to listen to some nutrition news that will help to move you forward and to progress you and your family. For those who listen to the replay, I thank you for pausing, taking time out of your schedule to listen in and to tune in. And so for those who are listening to the replay, I encourage you to reply, make comments, ask questions, because I do follow the thread after the live is over with. So I want you to feel as part of this process as everybody else who are listening live. And so this week, we are continuing our training on your favorite topics, some oldies but goodies, some things that you have found a particular strong interest in. And so we're going to continue to bring back some of those favorites. And so today we are talking about gluten-free. Is gluten-free the healthier way to go? Is it good for health? Is it good for weight loss? Is it necessary? So it's a lot of talk around gluten-free. And so more and more individuals are going gluten-free, right? One, as a means of eating healthier. Some go gluten-free because they want to reduce bloating. They want to promote weight loss. Is this necessary? Is it accurate? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that? And so today we're going to talk more about this hot topic where I'm going to hopefully set the record straight on when the gluten-free diet is recommended and to give you some insight on how to identify good gluten-free choices. And so before I jump in too far, I would like to get my window set up. So give me just a few minutes as you are tuning in. Please feel free to say hello. Say hello to me, where you're tuning in from. And, hey, have you ever gone gluten-free? Very, very, very fun question there. So I got one more window to set up and then we'll get going. So now when I see your comments, I can refer to you. I can address you directly. So I like to make this very interactive. Hey, have you ever gone gluten-free? I encourage comments and I encourage questions, okay? And so looks like I see some people chiming in. Hey, Tiffany, how you doing? How you doing? Thank you for saying hello to me. And so for those who don't know me, my name is Sandra Recommends, and I am a registered dietitian. I'm also a certified personal trainer. And my goal is simply to help you to achieve your weight, your health, your eating goals, your life goals, so that you feel good about yourself, that you enjoy the things that you love doing without feeling tired all the time. And so that's simply my mission for you. And in 2022, I've been talking a lot about breaking those food strongholds because we all have them, okay? So again, chime in and introduce yourself. And I'm going to do a quick check before. Tanika, how you doing? Nope, never gone. She says she's never gone gluten-free. All righty. So thank you for tuning in, Tanika. She's all the way from Orlando, Florida, where we're enjoying warm weather. And so today's topic is gluten-free. Is it the healthier way to go? Is it good for health? Is it good for weight loss? Okay. And so I will post the question that I just asked. And let me get my stuff together here. So reply yes or no. If you have not already done so, have you ever gone gluten-free before? Either intentionally for a specific purpose, just yes or no if you've done it before, okay? Or maybe you've tried it, okay, for a number of reasons. And so as people are tuning in, I want to kind of talk more about, let's define what gluten-free is. So let me see some comments. We have Krista here. She said she has not gone gluten-free. Hey, Nikki, how you doing? My clone sister in the March of 100. So have you ever gone gluten-free, Nikki? Let me know. All righty. And so what is gluten-free? So let's kind of talk about it. So gluten is a collective term for proteins that usually they're found in grains. They're found in grains like wheat, rye, barley, and they're all called triticale. Okay, so that's kind of like a collaborative term, and it's a cross between wheat and rye. Okay, and that gives baked goods their doughy, that elastic structure. Okay, so that's where that comes from, the gluten. Sometimes gluten is found in oats when it's produced in a facility where gluten products exist. So, but naturally, oats are gluten free. Otherwise, they're free. And so gluten also is used as a thickening agent, where it's used to enhance flavors in food. Okay. So the question is, okay, let me see here. I see some comments. You're thinking about it. Well, share with me, Tiffany, why you're thinking about it. Okay. And I'm going to talk to you. Okay. Nikki says no, she has not. So share, if you don't mind, why you're thinking about going gluten free. And so the next topic is when is it recommended, okay, to go gluten-free? When is it recommended? So gluten-free diet is recommended with people who have celiac, okay, or they have a gluten sensitivity, or they have a certain kind of skin disorder that will facilitate the need to go gluten-free. So it's a very specific skin disorder. And it's an autoimmune condition, and so I would just say Google it, okay? It's called dermatitis hepadermis. Okay, so I will actually put that in here so y'all can see it, so you all can look it up. So I will put it in here if you all want to look it up. But it is a certain skin disorder, so it's very specific reasons to go gluten free. Alrighty, so that's in there if you guys want to Google it to learn more about it. But a gluten-free diet may be helpful for some people with irritable bowel syndrome in some cases. But this, like I said, is on a very case-by-case basis. And so beyond those reasons, there is very little evidence that a gluten-free diet offers any particular health benefit. And so you want to have a medical diagnosis for this. So many people go gluten-free. They think that, it reduced my inflammation. Oh, it caused me to lose weight. Oh, I felt better. Oh, I felt less bloated. But it wasn't because of the gluten in most cases, unless you have been tested. You want to make sure, because you don't want to go gluten-free if you don't need to. Okay, so that's what's key. And so let me see. I see some comments here. Okay, let's see here. When I eat foods with gluten, I feel, she says she feels bad. So believe it's more than that going on, Tiffany, than just the gluten. Trust me. Trust me. So unless you have been tested by a doctor, you do not want to go gluten-free. And I'm going to talk more about that unless you need to. So you got to look at the whole overall eating pattern, not just on one particular food. Okay, so that's what we want to, because we don't want to cause nutritional deficiencies in other places. And so post or reply if you're listening to the replay, surprised to learn that gluten can act as a thickening agent. It's actually used to enhance food. So a lot of times you don't hear that one, that is used to enhance the flavor of foods. Okay, and most of us know that gluten is a wheat protein. So remember that. Okay, so we don't really think about that. So why does gluten-free exist in the first place? Okay, so let me get my window straight here. So why does it exist in the first place? So the term gluten-free, at one point it was a fad diet. I mean, it really was a fad diet, and many have jumped on the bandwagon. Many people did jump on the bandwagon. I hear often from new clients that have tried eating gluten-free in order to lose weight. And the fact is, gluten-free, it's medically necessary for those that are diagnosed by a physician with either celiac, or there's non-celiac gluten sensitivity, or they have wheat allergies. Okay. But you want to get tested. Okay. It's very, very, very important to not self-diagnose. And so individuals diagnosed with celiac disease, they must follow a very strict gluten-free diet due to the immune response that results in the damage of the lining of their small intestines, resulting in GI distress, gastrointestinal distress, and certain vitamins and minerals just not being absorbed. And it leads to many, many nutritional deficiencies. So that is why they have to do this, because they are in pain. Okay. And then those with celiac gluten sensitivity or wheat sensitivities, they generally experience GI pain and many related distresses. However, there is no damage to the lining of the small intestines itself. They just experience distress. Okay. But again, you want to you want to get that diagnosed because we want to make sure that it's not something else going on. Okay. All righty. And so the big takeaway message I'm going to post here. So the big takeaway message is GI distress or pain from wheat products, or if you're experiencing pain from wheat products, get tested. Get tested for either celiac, non-celiac, gluten sensitivity, or wheat allergy. But please, please, please do not self-diagnose yourself, okay? Let's see here. Okay, so I have several people who are surprised. Yeah, a lot of people don't know about it being a food enhancer. So it's a lot of things going on behind the scenes on a label. And so obtain proper testing from the doctor because you don't want to introduce nutritional deficiencies. And hence, you're going to have even more GI and immune and inflammation and other kind of problems that you're going to have. And so again, I'm going to speak more about that. Okay. And so problems. So let's talk about some problems with going gluten-free as a fad diet. Okay. And so the issue is that many people self-diagnose themselves and they feel that eating gluten-free relieves their GI distress. Okay. I think Tiffany mentioned that. It makes her feel, it seems like it makes her feel better. But some use the gluten-free as a means for weight loss. Okay. However, there is no evidence to support that eating gluten-free is related to weight loss. So the key nutrients are removed and must be monitored when you're eating gluten-free, such as folate, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, because most of the wheat products are enriched with these vitamins by law. And so this is the reason that eating a diet rich in whole grains, fruits and vegetables, low fat or non-fat dairy, unsaturated fats are very important to avoid nutritional deficiencies unless it's medically contraindicated. And so some things that many people don't know when you go gluten-free, it's a lot of nutrients that are removed, okay, in order to make it gluten-free. So that's why you do not want to introduce that as your primary means of getting whole grains if it's not necessary, because there's other things that have to be supplemented when you do go gluten-free. So those who are on celiac, they're taking a lot of supplements, they're being monitored, they're under doctor supervision. They are just not going gluten-free and then everything is well. So there's a lot of things that go along with that, okay? That you don't usually hear about. Okay, so let's see here. I'm just checking for comments and looks like we are good here. I'm just checking to see if there's any questions. And so Post did not know. Did you know that there are vital nutrients that are missing or stripped away when you go gluten-free? So not only are they more expensive, right? More expensive, then you're also missing out on some key nutrients that the body does need. And so many of us, are unaware that that gluten-free is free of important nutrients. Okay, and then it adds you restrict carbs, you restrict calories, which further increases your nutritional deficiencies, which leads to other health problems. So you don't want to put a Band-Aid on one thing and then it creates other problems. So that's what we want to make sure of. And so on the bright side of things, so let's talk about some gluten-free food choices, okay? Let's see here. It looks like I see some. Okay, so we got some people that say they did not know. Right, they didn't know. And most people don't. We just know it's more expensive. So some common grains and starches and flours can be part of a gluten-free diet. So these are naturally gluten-free foods. And so like arrowroot, buckwheat, millet, corn, flax. Then you have your gluten-free flours, which are like your rice, your soy, your corn, your potato, your bean flours. So you have all these different type of flours. Then you have your quinoa. So I think that's probably one of the most popular gluten-free foods. And then you have your rice, which also includes wild rice. And then you have your soy products. So those are things that are gluten-free sources, okay? And so let's talk about some naturally gluten-free foods. So this is when marketing gets really, really funny for me, where companies will say a food is gluten-free and they put that claim on the front. And then, you as a consumer will look at that, oh, wow, that sounds great. And it's organic free and gluten-free. And cholesterol free and dairy free and all this kind of free stuff, but that does not make it a good choice. Okay. And in this case, this is where marketing kind of is misleading because you'll see it on foods that are already naturally gluten free. So the gluten was never present. So it was not like they took anything out of it, leading you to believe that it's healthier when it was already gluten free to begin with. And so some sources that are naturally gluten free are meat, poultry, fish in its natural form when it's not like breaded or anything like that. And then you have your eggs, you have your fresh fruit and vegetables, you have your legumes, you have your dairy products. Many of those are naturally gluten free. And so therefore, when a food package boasts about, these particular products being gluten free, this is simply, it's just marketing hype. Okay. It's nothing was removed, nothing was changed, nothing was done to make it healthier. It was already naturally like that. So that's when labeling gets funny. Okay. And let's see here. So let's talk about let's see here. Looks like I may have missed one of my, let's see here. Give me 1 second here. Looks like I missed one of my posts, but that is okay. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. So post I have, if you've ever purchased a particular food because it was labeled gluten-free. So tell the truth, be honest. Was it exciting when because when you don't know what you don't know, then why would you not believe that it's a better choice? So have you ever saw a label without overthinking it and you saw gluten-free and you were like, oh, okay, this is probably a good thing to get. So I'm looking forward to seeing those comments. So who's going to fess up and say that they did? Because it's perfectly fine. You're not alone. You are definitely not alone. All righty. And so next topic, gluten-free choices that are combined with other food groups. Okay, so gluten-free choices combined with other food groups. So recapping our good gluten-free choices. So that they include foods that are naturally gluten-free, such as your lean meats, your low-fat dairy, your fruits and your vegetables, your whole grain that are gluten-free whole grains, and your healthy fats. So it's important not to replace gluten-free containing foods with more red meat, fattier cuts, or full-fat dairy, or starchy vegetables and sweets and fats, and which can lead to a higher intake. Okay, when I say starchy vegetables, depends on how they're prepared, because you still want the starchy vegetables. That can lead to a higher intake of vegetables and cholesterol, saturated fat, sodium, and unwanted calories. So you want to be careful there. And so it's also prudent to limit the commercially prepared gluten-free snacks. So a lot of times people will buy snacks, with the hope that it's healthier when they see the word gluten-free on there, like sugar-free and things like that. And baking goods, which are typically higher in refined carbohydrates, which is ones without the fiber, fat, sugar, and salt. So just like their gluten counterparts. So we want to be careful about how we combine them with other foods, how we combine the gluten-free products with other foods. And so let me just check on some comments here just to make sure. Okay. Yep, we got some people that are surprised. And so recapping, so the bottom line is, if you don't need to go gluten-free, if it's not for medical reasons, then there's no need to avoid it. Okay, gluten is not the enemy. So a lot of times gluten has gotten a bad rap. It's one of those areas of food that has gotten a bad rap. And so if there's no health benefit in ordering from the gluten-free menu at the restaurant or purchasing gluten-free products from the store. Okay, so those options are there for people where it's medically necessary, so that they can enjoy eating out as well. And so if you would like to get a jump on how to include whole grains, your oats, your bread, your quinoa, your brown rice, things like that, and most of those are gluten-free. The bread, you actually have to look on the label for gluten-free if it is medically necessary. So I recommend downloading my free guide here, because it will actually show you a different variety of the different grains and different starches. So they're easy to prepare meals, they're fast, they're delicious, and there's a variety of whole grains in there. So you will see a lot of things that you probably wouldn't typically see in a healthy eating plan. It's for 3 days, and people who followed them, they actually reported they felt better after the 3 days, and they were sleeping better, and they can tell the difference. It doesn't take long for your body to respond when it gets something that it's thriving for. It doesn't take long to respond, and so not to mention, you'll also kind of get a jump on weight loss because you will feel less bloated, and you will get a jump on, you'll feel an increase in your energy levels. So definitely grab your copy. And I am going to put this in the chat as well because I know you all cannot click on, I forgot to hit enter on this screen for the word that you guys can Google. And so let me put it in here. So this is a way that you can get the free download. And this way you'll see not just whole grains, but you'll see a lot of other foods and a lot of variety of things, which I really like because I like for people to understand that there is a variety of foods that you can eat and you can enjoy. So I thank you all for tuning in. I thank you all for tuning in to It's All About Choices, a holistic nutrition, weight loss, and fitness academy. And so remember to keep a positive attitude, speak only positive self-talk to yourself, and it goes a long way in cultivating and maintaining a healthy lifestyle and self-care habits that last for life. And so remember, in 2022, we are breaking food strongholds. And so next week, we are going to continue on your favorites, and we are going to talk about processed foods. Okay, this is another big one. What does processed foods really mean? Okay, a lot of times I hear that people say, well, I don't really eat processed foods and things of that nature. So the question is, are all processed foods bad for you? And do they hinder your weight loss? Okay, so if you've ever cut out processed foods in order to eat healthy or to lose weight, you definitely want to tune in. So mark your calendars, and I have some shocking insights for you that I want to share with you. And accurate knowledge is power. So bye for now. Have a great rest of your day and healthy regards. Blessings.